In the pouring rain, a little boy cried, his tiny hands reaching out for a figure that was already disappearing into the distance. His mother, lured by the promise of a life of luxury, had just left him. She chose a wealthy lover over her own child, leaving him alone and heartbroken on the cold, wet streets. He was just a small child, and his world had just crumbled. His desperate cries echoed in the empty alley, a heartbreaking sound that was almost drowned out by the storm. Just as the last glimmer of hope seemed to fade, another woman appeared. She was homeless, with worn-out clothes and a weary look on her face, but her eyes held a warmth that the boy's own mother lacked. She saw the shivering, crying child, and her heart broke. Without a second thought, she rushed over, wrapping him in her thin coat, shielding him from the relentless rain. She had nothing to offer but her love, but at that moment, it was everything. She whispered soothing words to him, promising to never leave his side. That night, under the meager shelter of a bridge, a new family was born, not of blood, but of pure, selfless love. Years flew by. Life was never easy. They faced hunger, cold, and the harsh judgment of others. The woman, whom the boy now called Mom, worked tirelessly at odd jobs, washing dishes, cleaning floors, anything to put food on the table and send him to school. She would often go hungry herself just to make sure he had enough to eat. She patched his old clothes with care and told him bedtime stories that filled his dreams with hope. She taught him the value of kindness, integrity, and hard work, not with words, but with her everyday actions. The boy, whose name was Leo, soaked it all in. He studied relentlessly, driven by a fierce desire to give his mother the life she deserved. He saw her sacrifices, her calloused hands, her tired smiles, and it fueled a fire within him. He promised himself that one day he would repay her love 1,000 times over. Meanwhile, Leo's biological mother was living the high life she had always dreamed of. She was surrounded by opulence, draped in designer clothes and sparkling jewels. She had everything she ever wanted, or so she thought. She rarely, if ever, thought about the son she had left behind. The memory was like a distant, unpleasant dream she chose to ignore. Her rich lover provided for her every whim, and she basked in the comfort and security he offered. The guilt was a small price to pay for a life free from hardship. But as the saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. 20 years later, her world came crashing down. Her wealthy lover passed away suddenly, and his family, who had never accepted her, wasted no time in casting her out. Since she had no children with him, she had no legal claim to his fortune. They threw her out onto the street with nothing but the clothes on her back, the very same way she had abandoned her own son years ago. Life had come full circle. Now, she was the one who was poor, alone, and desperate. The harsh reality of the streets was a brutal shock. She was no longer young, and the world was an unforgiving place. During this same time, Leo had achieved incredible success. Through sheer determination and brilliance, he had worked his way up from nothing. He graduated at the top of his class, started a small tech company in a garage, and through innovation and relentless effort, turned it into a multi-million-dollar empire. He was now a young, respected CEO, known not only for his business acumen but also for his philanthropy. But his greatest pride was not his company or his wealth. It was the beautiful home he had bought for his mother. He made sure she never had to work another day in her life. He showered her with the comfort and love she had so freely given him. They were inseparable, their bond a testament to the fact that family is about love, not blood. He took her on vacations, bought her beautiful things, and most importantly, spent time with her, listening to her stories, and simply enjoying her company. Her laughter was the sweetest sound in his world. One day, as Leo was leaving his office, he saw a disheveled woman begging on the street corner. There was something familiar about her, a flicker of a memory in her tired eyes. His heart skipped a beat. The woman looked up, and their eyes met. It was her. his biological mother. She was older, weathered by hardship, but he recognized her instantly. A storm of emotions raged within him: anger, confusion, and a sliver of pity. She recognized him too. She had seen his face on magazine covers and news reports. She stumbled towards him, tears streaming down her face. She fell to her knees, clutching at his expensive suit. She begged for his forgiveness, telling him about her hardships, about how she was chased out, about how she regretted her decision every single day. She pleaded with him to take her back, to let her be a part of his life. Leo stood there, frozen. The little boy inside him who cried in the rain wanted to scream, to ask her why, to unleash all the pain he had buried for years. But then, he looked at her, truly looked at her. He didn't see the monster who abandoned him. He saw a broken, desperate woman who had made a terrible mistake and paid dearly for it. He thought of the mother who had raised him, the one who taught him compassion and forgiveness. Her lessons were the foundation of who he was. He helped his biological mother to her feet. He looked at her with calm, steady eyes. He explained that he had a mother, a real mother who had loved him and sacrificed everything for him. He told her he couldn't erase the years of pain and abandonment. However, he also said that he wouldn't let her suffer on the streets. He arranged for her to have a small, clean apartment and a modest allowance to live on. It was not an act of forgiveness in the way she wanted, nor was it an invitation back into his life as his mother. It was an act of humanity, a final tribute to the woman who had taught him what it truly means to be kind. He walked away, leaving her with the means to survive, but not with the relationship she craved. He knew where his heart and his home were. He went back to his real mother, the woman waiting for him with a warm meal and an even warmer hug. He hugged her tightly, filled with overwhelming gratitude. In that moment, he understood that wealth isn't about money or status. True wealth is the unconditional love of a family, a love he had found in the arms of a homeless stranger on a rainy night so long ago. That was a treasure no amount of money could ever buy. Thank you so much for watching. This story reminds us that family is defined by love and sacrifice, not just by blood. If you were moved by this story, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.